what all you can do, right? So first and foremost, what is career planning? It's not career guidance, it is career planning and modeling. I used to call that. Whenever I interact with fellows from Ministry of Labour and Employment, I'm a National Career Service Councillor, one of the National Career Service Councillor in Chennai. So we used to make a point that there must be a point in whatever you do. So number one point. So after 10 years, now you are seeing a lot of companies, bigger companies like Amazon, Apple, Google, all these things laying off people, like they are relieving a lot of people. In last year alone, 2.5 lakh people have been fired from these companies. Do you know that? You would have heard about it, right? Of course, in parodic terms, you would have heard about it. These people are in midlife, like which means 35 plus or 40, something like that. So what if you are going to be facing the same kind of scenario in your future? Can you be sure you will not be facing it? So career planning is all about finding something that is future proof. Will your career survive the future challenges? So how come my choice of career will become a problem? Let me say it for example. 10 years back, there was a pilot and a cameraman who will be shooting movies and songs, etc., stuffs like that. Do you know that? But now, a drone does it. A drone is doing it. So two people have lost their jobs. In a matter of, in your visual life, you are very young. In your visual life itself, this has happened. Take for example, 10 years back, if you go to a bank, there will be people who will be getting money and giving you money. There will be clerks, etc., etc. Now it is being done by a robot. That's an ATM. It's a robot, but that is immovable. So these kinds of things are happening very fast, right? You are looking up like self-driving cars coming up, self-driving technologies coming up, etc., etc. What if your career choice is going to face the same kind of problem in future? In the next 10 years or 15 years, or when you are going to be 30 or 35 plus, what you studied is no more needed. When I was studying, there was a course that was highly in demand, MS and VLSI. Many of your staff should know about it. But now nobody is studying VLSI. My friend went to Canada spending perks of money and studied VLSI. He doesn't have a job right now. He is now an ATM programmer. What he studied was different, what he is doing is different. So this is the reason why we need to have career planning. This is one reason why we need to have career planning. The other reason is there are lots and lots of opportunities available which you guys are not taking up at all. It's like as if a herd of sheep. You either go for a prescribed idea of education and you don't make yourself available for other areas also. So first, as Shah was saying, there are other routes to get into IIT. Yes, there are actually 3 routes to get into IIT after 12th standard. There are 3 routes to get into IIT after 12th standard, and only one of that requires your academic performance counted, that is JEE. Rest other routes is not at all connected towards your academic performance. Take for example, be it commerce or be it computer science or be it biology, you can get into these routes. What does it mean? You don't need to be good in physics or chemistry or biology or mathematics or whatever it may be to get into IIT. If you're good in certain areas, if you're good in drawing, you can get a seat in IIT. There is a website called willrobotstakemyjobs.com. Have you heard about this website? If you go and check your ambition on that website, it will list out a possibility of how much that your career will be surviving in the future. Sometimes it may not. Right? Take for example, in Dubai there is a system that is being introduced recently in Gulf countries, blockchain systems. These kinds of ideas can put a full stop to requirement of auditors completely. Right? Because everything is going to be online. Your billings, your auditing, everything is going to be based on an app. Now everything, your transaction is completely digital. What if this is being audited by the government in an online platform? There will be no more requirement of auditors. Am I right? So now there are lots of people rushing towards CA. Will there be a need for CA? And even in CA there is a wrong planning. There is literally a wrong planning. Right? So a lot of mistakes are happening around us and we want to correct it. So it is right that we think this crowd is the best time and best, listeners for these things. Okay. So first, career planning. In career planning, what are the different venues available? It must be of good salary. It must survive the future troubles. Okay. First is, it must be of good salary. It must survive future troubles. And third, it must be easy to get into. It must be easy to get into. Okay. So in that, keeping that in mind, so let us talk about IIT. You know about JEE, one of the toughest examinations, and of course in all over the world you can call it JEE. Next route, there is something called IIT USEED. IIT USEED. In these examinations, people will ask you about drawings, comparative, like you would have seen picture comparisons. What is what is, no, there will be something like what are the 6 difference between these 2 pictures, that kind of things. Only that is going to be asked in this question paper. And next something is there is called IIT HSEE, HSEE. This is for humanities and social studies. It's an integrated program of 5 years. Most of the students who take up this course will definitely be an IAS, because the syllabus of IAS and this course is same. And unfortunately, from Tamil Nadu, just 54 students applied for these examinations last year. So when the crowd who is going to be writing the examination is going to be lesser, what is the possibility of you clearing it? It's higher, right? You make an attempt, you're going to be getting selected for it, right? So it's like saying, when the going gets tougher, the tough gets going. But in this case, even the smarter gets going, right? If you're going to be smart enough to understand these options available, you can definitely get into IIT. So you may be thinking, sir, what is the matter with IIT? We're all frustrated, fixated with IIT. What is that about IIT? I'm not interested in IIT at all. And whatever maybe you're saying that there is something else, another course that to get into IIT, but why is that a beneficial thing? Who is Sundar Pichai? CEO of Google. What did he study in IIT? What course did he study in IIT? Anybody? He did metallurgy in IIT. Metallurgy to Google. Is there a connect? So what is the logic here? It is the brand of IIT that matters. So if you are going to be associated with IIT in any sense, imagine the kind of life you may have. And first and foremost things, my friend, you will all be thinking that, sir, why is that a need? My parents will take care about these things, etc., etc. Stop that idea. Your mom and dad would have got a seat in one of the best colleges of Tamil Nadu, right? They would have studied in the best educational environment of Tamil Nadu in their times. If you look at your grandparents, they would have just, many of them would have not even been educated. Some of them would have been educated to some level of secondary education or something like that. And if you go before to that generation, they would have not been educated at all. This is the kind of progression that is happening. Am I right? Your great-grandparents would have not been educated. Your grandparents would have studied at least till schoolings of secondary level. Your parents would have gone into some colleges. Maybe one of the good colleges in Tamil Nadu. So the next progress of your life, your generation, your family must be in a sense to achieve the biggest college or the best college of India or the world, and not the other way. What is the use in repeating what your parents did? Are you going to be doing the same thing what your parents did? Or are you going to be achieving something of higher level? Take for example, you're going to get a seat in London School of Economics. You're going to get a seat in Oxford. You're going to get a seat in Massachusetts Institute of Technology. You're going to study in IIT. Does this sound good? Or getting into some crap engineering college, is that good? Which is good. If you make hours available in any of the biggest institutions, in any route, your life is settled. So you are indebted to your parents in a sense that your career path must be to achieve one of the best and bestest of the, they are putting a lot of money for you to study in these kinds of international schools, right? They are expecting a best future for you and you have to work for it. You have to coordinate with them, that's it. There are people like us to help you. As I said, my friends, it doesn't mean that if you're going to be studying in London School of Economics, you have to go to London. There are 4 colleges in India that are tied up with the London School of Economics in India. So, you would have heard about governor of RBI. If you're going to be studying in those colleges, you will become a governor of RBI in future. How does it sound? The problem is, a lot of trouble. It's very, tricky. I'm not that much good. Nobody is good. Nobody is good. Just do one thing. Just do one thing. For at least for your sake, not my sake, do one thing. If you're able to search in Google, find UC question paper. UCEED. UC entrance question paper or SEED entrance question paper. and try to solve it. When you open up the question paper, you will not believe that it is an IIT question paper. I was showing to your principal right now, and your sir also, PR sir also. They were not ready to believe that it was kind of a IIT question paper. You know, if some 5th or 6th standard kids can have a question paper of their mentality, what it will be? It will be of that level. Just have a search about it. Only then you will realize how easy those question papers are. Okay. So my question is, so some people may be very much fixated on JEE, no doubt. There is nothing wrong about it. But what is your backup? If you don't get a JEE seat, why not try UC seat? That is career planning. Sir, if I don't get a JEE seat, my parents will get a seat in one of the bigger colleges of Tamil Nadu, where they'll charge 3 to 4 lakhs per annum. Make a decision wisely, smartly. Okay. So, first idea must be excelling your parents. What they did, you should never do it. You should go to the next level. Understandable? That is being expected. Everybody is expecting it. Okay. So next, take for example law. How many of you do want to do law in India? Law colleges. There is a huge demand for law, but let me say it. The reason why we are speaking to you so early is, many of you kids are from 11th standard, right? So if you want to study law in one of the top colleges of India, you want to become a Supreme Court judge, you want to become, you want to having a lal bati, the red light on your car when you go on. These kinds of things can happen when you become a constitutional lawyer or Supreme Court judge or something like that. If you want to do that, if you want to make that happen, you have to be associated with one of the best law colleges in India. There are 24 such kinds of law colleges in India. There is a consortium of 24 colleges. And there is an exam called CLAT. The reason why we are talking to you right now is, if you're going to be studying in 12th right now, and after your 12th, what do you think? I want to join law colleges. And you choose, let me go for CLAT and join it. But you'll be in for a shock, because normally CLAT happens in the month of December. Last year it happened on December 18. What does it mean? So when will be the application put forth? So as soon as you join your 12th standard, the application will be released. By the first month of December, everything will be done. So you will be very late after 12th standard when you go and want to do it. Can you get it? So when are you going to prepare for it? If you're going to be applying for CLAT during your 11th standard. So can you get how tight in timing you are? You may think it is something after 12th standard what we are going to be thinking. No. These examinations, what we are saying, that IIT, UC or HSC, etc., the problem is this kind. Next, take for example, we talked about law, right? Architecture. Everybody would have heard about architecture, right? What if you do architecture in one of the best colleges of India? Have you ever thought about it? One of the best architects, like somebody designed Indian new parliament. What if you are the next such a person? இந்த மாதிரி யோசிங்கப்பா. Make your minds bigger. Make your minds explorative. Spice data? Yeah, I think so. Right? So, you have a beautiful life. You travel in air. You are treated respectfully. And for 1 hour, you are going to be paid 20,000 per hour. Right now, when the economy is tight, 20,000 per hour. So, which means to say, if you are going to be flying 10 hours per day, how much? 2 lakhs. Autopilot போட்டு படுத்துவீங்களாம். Okay. Right. Next, there is something called defense. Do you know about NDA? NDA. NDA, National Defense Academy, Naval Academy. India has big, tanks, armored tanks. India has big guns, weapons, etc., etc. What is the expansion of Avadi? Anybody from Avadi here? Know about Avadi? There is a locality in Chennai, right? I mean, near to Chennai. What is the expansion of Avadi? Avadi is an expansion. What is the expansion of Avadi? Anybody? Armed Vehicles and Ammunition Depot of India. Armed Vehicles and Ammunition Depot of India. That is the expansion of Avadi. So there is a city that is completely dedicated to be a depot for vehicles and armed things. So imagine how much production is happening over there. What if you get to produce those military tanks? You get to produce the weapons. You have to join this NDA course, National Defense Academy. And from the day you join, they will give you scholarship. There is no income tax for life. Okay, right? No GST, nothing to be worried about. Right? And Naval Academy to be a Indian Navy ship captains, these kinds of things. And next, so we talked about architecture, we talked about marine, we talked about pilot, we talked about IIT, design. What's design? This is one area that is going to survive tall. So now I have an Apple laptop, you would have seen it. So who is Steve Jobs? Founder of Apple. So once again, if you go to Wikipedia and check his profile, in the last line you will find one thing. There is not even one engineering patent of Apple. It is the design of Apple that speaks. So Apple is one of the biggest company in India, in the world, just because of its design. So when I say design, people will think that fashion design, interior design, that's it. Your mind, actually we people huge opportunities here. This field is creative. When there is creativity in a field, no robot will take your job. No robot will take the job. You know the salary of it. I'll show to you if you're able to look at my laptop. Last year, as per the Times of India, I had those clippings ready, but I'm not able to unfortunately show to you. But still, let me say it. Just believe me. Last year, the minimum salary for a passing out student of design career last year was 72 lakhs with undergraduation. Don't believe me, search it. I always say to my students, no matter who it is, don't never believe anybody. You're given a good education, your parents are working for it, they are having sleepless nights to make you, have a good career. So never ever believe anybody. Go have a check, cross-verify it. That's what education is about. You should never ever. When I was studying in MIT, Chandrayaan was being launched. Now nothing is being launched. Okay. Of course, there is a scope. There is a scope in governmental areas, but there is a lot of bureaucratic hurdles for it. Okay, but in future, particularly abroad and all, there will be space tourism that will be coming up. So there will be huge opportunities opening, but not in the next 20 years, after that. Okay. So IAS, if you want to really go into IAS, it's not about studies, it's about a change of character. That need to be put up. And the best course I would suggest is there is HSC in IIT. Humanities and Social Education in IIT. The syllabus of HSC and IAS is almost the same. Right? So IAS, if you want to get into IIT, there is one thing you need to create in yourself. What is IQ? Intelligent quotient. What is EI? Emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. So what is emotional intelligence? IQ is nothing but if you're going to be able to solve a bunch of questions, you're good in your knowledge. These guys need to have EI, emotional intelligence. So what is emotional intelligence? You would have seen in your home and all, there will be some kid who will be poor in education, etc., but when a crisis comes, when a problem happens, when an accident happens, he'll be solving it with ease. So when there's an emotional situation that is happening, that is arising, there must be intelligence at play. On the other end, there will be people who have good IQ, they'll be standing. Chemical engineering. Chemical engineering is also one such good field, right? But the problem is, most of the chemical engineering jobs are tied with petroleum things. So petroleum is going to go obsolete. So mostly right now we have electricity cars, right? That way. Of course, you guys will adopt you have the batteries, etc., coming in. But in India, there is no big chemical engineering laboratories working on. My sister is a PhD in chemistry. There is no good labs actually. Now, whenever we say there is a university, I've been to Poland, France, etc., whenever I go there, there is I made a paper in it. I was working in the University of High Pressures and Compounds. That's just a simple idea in physics. Nothing new. They had a university for it. Here there are universities. Here the universities are primarily focused on college educations. There the universities are more concerned about research. They have a patent tie-up with the student for research. 75% goes for the fund of patent goes to the college, and with that they make research. It goes on. Education is secondary. Here's the opposite. They're more concerned with education, not the research. That's a problem actually. So if you're going to be asking about those studies, abroad is good, not good. Abroad, material science, etc., those things are developing like crazy. Fastly developing. Okay. Any other questions? Blockchain, yeah, it is a good thing. It's also a field of design only.
with mathematics actually, basically mathematics, but it is a good thing. It will take another 15 years for blockchain to catch up in India, but it is already happening in Gulf countries. So when things happen in these areas, it need to be westernized first. Western countries need to adopt it, and then only it need to move on. Okay. Any other? Doctor. Actually, there are certain fields that will always have a requirement, but in my opinion, it's also getting crowded in India right now. But as the European countries, Japanese countries, Russia, etc., are having a population decline, a lot of big people are becoming older and no new people are born. The birth rate is less. So there will be an international demand for medicine. Many of the countries, old people are coming in. That's a problem actually. In China, if you see, there will be people will be given holidays to go and visit their parents. Because if you go to your home, it will be like a whole day home. Your parents, your grandparents, great-grandparents, everybody will be alive. Super centenarians, 110 years. So if you just imagine your wife and your own parents, or grandparents and great-grandparents, almost 15 to 16 people of old age will be in a house. Literally that is happening in China and Japan and all. So but there will be huge requirement on that line. Right? And any other questions? Biotech. Biotech is one good field. But India need to get competitive. Take for example India, we have Biocon, that's a prime big player in biotech. Rest of the players are of course budding, they are in the rise. Okay. Of course we will have a good rise because vaccines, everything are based on biotech only. So these recombinant DNA vaccines, etc., there is a huge necessity in that field that is happening. And after COVID, many of the countries are putting their efforts into that kind of research. So there will be it is budding up. It is building on that kind of rapport, but after 4 to 5 years, there will be huge requirement in that line. Any other questions? Marine. So if you see marine, there are two ideas. One is captaincy, another one is engineering. Marine engineer, marine captain. Captain, you will be going for BSc nautical science, something like that. BE marine engineer. Both the things are taught in the same college. Any kind of college that is connected to marine will do it. So the nodal university is IMU. Indian Maritime University. The entrance you need to write for it, IMU set. Common entrance test, IMU set. The subject composure of IMU set will be mostly aptitude, logical reasoning, English, and some areas of physical chemistry depending upon the college you opt for. Right? Physics mostly will be on trigonometry, that's it, nothing more. But aptitude do good for it. All these the exams which I listed, IIT alternates, or marine, or defense, or pilot, or anything, aptitude alone will do good. Actually, there is a problem in understanding of colleges and universities in India. They don't give much importance to aptitude. Just have it in understanding. Abroad studies, GRE or GRE or IELTS or TOEFL or something like that, or MNC company placements, or IIT JEE or IIT Roots, or MBA studies, or government jobs like IAS, IPS, or TNPSC, or these kinds of examinations. Marine, etc., pilot, everything, there is one thing that is common, that is aptitude. Unfortunately, nobody studies aptitude seriously. Okay. The reason I am asking you to think bigger is, you guys know about GRE, right? Doing masters in US. Some of you will be ready to do medicine in Russian countries also, right after 12th standard. What if we change the equation opposite direction? You are ready to do undergraduate medicine in Russian countries. You are ready to do masters in US. What if you do undergraduate in US? Is there any exam for it? There is an exam for it. SAT, Scholastic Aptitude Test. The composure of that test is in 3 levels. There will be reading comprehension in this examination. There will be basic mathematics, reading comprehension, listening, writing. This is the syllabus for SAT. Compare that with JRE. So we have to think differently. That's what I used to say. You are ready to do undergraduate in an abroad country in medicine. Why not do undergraduate in US? Just look at this paper of SAT. Nobody is applying for it. Nobody is writing for it. You will be easily getting it. Why not do it? That's what I said. Why don't you aim for anything that your parents have not imagined? Anybody? I had some hands raised over there. Software engineering, I have been saying ChatGPT will eat up software engineering like hell in India, but you are able to create any technology, any apps. That must be the kind of students of abroad are doing it, distant countries are doing it. Your thought process must be in a sense, who is Greta Thunberg? Environmental activist from Norway. Who is Malala Yousafzai? Pakistani educational activist who won Nobel. These people were your age. Who stops you from talking in United Nations? If Greta Thunberg can talk in United Nations, why not you guys talk in United Nations? That must be the kind of mind opening you should have. This is what we have been discussing. The question that I will ask you in IIT, UC or HSC or Maritime Studies or Pilot or something like that. Here the trick is not to solve the problem. Here the trick is to understand the question. These competitive examinations are done without calculators. You are not allowed calculators. So as a pedagogist, as an NCS, I used to say to my students, when there is no calculator in an examination, there is only two ways to make the questions tougher. They cannot have a very big question and ask the last line as an answer. There will be cases initiated against them. There will be only two ways to make the questions tougher, because you have a prescribed time, prescribed number of questions. A question cannot not more than 2 minutes. So which means a question must be solvable in 3 to 4 lines. So if this is the condition, without calculators, you cannot have, as the calculators are not allowed, you cannot have bigger numericals. If you put bigger numericals, you cannot solve it without calculators. So there will be cases put up. So there are only two ways to make the questions tougher. One is making the questions trickier, as I said right now. Another one is substitution questions. You will have a formula, you substitute it in, you get an answer. Put that in another formula, you get an answer. What they'll trickily do is, this first step answer will be in the choice. You will think that I got the answer, I'll pick it up. And you'll make mistakes. You have to substitute in another part. This is the only two ways in which a competitive examination, be it NEET or IIT or any kind of competitive examinations, can be made tougher. So it's not about studying for the examination. No matter how much ever you try, you solve LCM questions with bigger numericals, no matter what. If you don't know the question that I said is an LCM question, what is the use of trying? What is the use of solving LCM for that much hours? What is the LCM of 70, 80, 90, 20, whatever be it? No matter how hard you try to solve and try to understand how to solve LCM, if you don't know what the question is, it's useless. Right? There will be another guy who knows this question, what that is, he'll casually solve it. Without any panic, he'll easily solve it. Another way, he'll be putting trees, 20, 2 days once, 3 days once. He'll go for a train. Yeah, the train meets at some point of time. By the time 4 minutes will be gone. This is a strategy of examination. This is what they want. They are having negative marks in it. What right, what not right. Okay, finding any other questions? Actually, right now the flock is towards artificial intelligence and data science. Most are opting for it. Actually, already there is an artificial intelligence and data science that you are encountering. Don't know that? There is the knowledge that is required is probability and statistics. So, you are using WhatsApp, you are using YouTube, you are using Flipkart, Amazon and all. You buy something, there will be a suggestion. You may like this. You watch a video, there may be a suggestion. You may like this. How is it that being done? The probability of the person who have bought this also buying this is this. So probability. And the statistics, the number of times it has happened. So we'll put the thing. So probability and statistics are the two knowledge that is required for those ideas. Artificial intelligence or like that. So if you extrapolate this artificial intelligence, that is what? Machine learning. The machine learns on its own. First time when you type something in WhatsApp, it will show it as an error. The next time if you type it, your machine will not show it as an error because the machine has learned it. It will display some random words if you make a mistake. That is because of probability and statistics. Next time if you type the mistake word also, the machine has learned this is the word that the customer looks at. So that's it. That's it. That's what artificial intelligence. If you extrapolate this to the next level, machine learning. If you extrapolate that to the next level, self-driving car, automated car. Instead of computer science and simulation environment, that happens on a real-time environment, the car learns on its own after some time, some duration. So these are budding fields. India is also one of the good players, but not that great players. We want to be employees, we don't want to be leaders. We don't want to be less. No, take for example 15 to 20, 15 to 35 is what the time is being called as youth. 15 to 21, your requirements are education, higher level of education. So you have to meet out the best education that time. 21 to 28, employment. 28 to 35, entrepreneur. This is the progression that is happening in many of Western countries. Unfortunately, here it is opposite. Okay, somebody right here. Yeah. Aeronautical, aerospace, avionics, don't different set much. It's of course the same thing, but we do have a lot of requirements for aeronautics.